SQ5 Commentary featuring Mark Crow and Scott Murphy. Guys, how's it going?
It is.
Hey, everybody.
It's going.
Here we are again. You getting sick of hearing us yet?
Took a quick nap in there between sessions, and I'm ready to go.
Quick nap, huh?
Yeah,
I totally lied to everybody. I said, we'll be back in 30 seconds. And it was like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Glad to be back.
Very cool.
It's really hot here, so the lines are running slow.
Yeah. We just announced
the signals are just poking along the lines.
The new character for Space Venture. So you guys listening to the video after the fact, if you haven't already seen that, make sure you check out the Kickstarter update page so you can see the new character, Ace Hardway.
But don't abandon us.
Yeah, but don't leave us. We're lonely. All right. So, chat room, everybody can hear me okay? All right. Sounds like a plan then. Well, here we go, guys. So, let's talk a little bit about the deal. Space Quest 4 ended. Roger Wilco was talking to his son, then he shot through the time warp, and then we broke into the song time warp from the 1970s, right? No, not really. But all that rainbow stuff that happened at the end kind of reminded you of that. And so it ended. And at that point, Mark, or Scott, you got moved on to Police Quest 3? Is that correct?
Let's see. I was moved into the writer's block. Josh Mandel was they'd actually set up a room called the writer's block. I believe he named it, and it was a room that Josh and Bridget McKenna and I think Lorelei Shannon was in there with us, as well as Marty McKenna for a while, both of them, and then Bruce Balfour and Jane Jensen sat just across from me, and also Josh Mandel in there. And it was a very interesting place to be. But I was really fried. I was so toasted after Space Quest 4 and all the other games that I was doing much lighter work at that time. And meanwhile, Josh and Bruce were trying to crank out all kinds of game things, and Jane was working on her next project. And Jane was so focused, and I just would look over and go, "How do you do that?" We used to talk about it.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people do that. You sat right there in the same office with Jane Jensen. Yeah,
we actually got to spend some time together when other people were out of the office, and got to know each other better, and it was very inspiring to me, and actually to some degree intimidating to just see how great she really is at what she does, and what laser-like focus she can gain.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Well, and so, Mark, you had already moved to Dynamics at this point. What year did you move to Dynamics?
I'm guessing that was 91.
91?
Yeah, it sounds right.
And it was shortly after, I think it was just before Police Quest 3 was going to be released, because I had done some work on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you had moved to Dynamics, which, of course, Dynamics was owned by Sierra at this point, right?
Right.
So technically, you're still with Sierra, just a extension. And Dynamics is in Oregon.
Eugene, Oregon?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how you ended up there. Yeah.
A beautiful place.
And so, how did Space Quest 5 fall into your lap? How did you end up moving forward with that?
Trying to recall all the details. I mean, when I first came to Dynamics, it was with the intent to do something else, do an original game. I was very impressed with the stuff they were doing there. Their game engine, if people remember Rise of the Dragon and the Heart of China games, those were just beautiful games and had some interesting, unique gameplay to them. And so, yeah, I was just real eager to do something fresh with that, and came with some ideas for games and started immediately developing a superhero game called Ultra Guy as far as a pitch to do a game. And for whatever reason, it just wasn't catching on. I was having a hard time getting support to do that, and at the same time, I guess there was pressure behind the scene to get a new Space Quest game going, and I don't know all the politics involved in that, but I just know they came to me after I think about a month of trying to get something else going, and feeling like I needed to get working again. I said, "Hey, how about doing a Space Quest?" And I said, "Well, yeah, sure. We could talk about that." Having just recently finished Space Quest 3, I wasn't all that excited to jump into another Space Quest game.
Or Space Quest 4, you mean?
Yes, thank you.
Picky.
Space Quest 3, Space Quest 4, same thing. No,
it's just a number. What's in a name?
That's right. Well, very cool. And so you decided to move forward with that, and Scott was tied up with what he was doing, so you ended up kind of soloing this one. Where did your ideas come from for this particular game?
Sure. Well, I wouldn't say that I was flying solo. I had assembled a pretty good team of talented guys, and I had a great writer on board. My assistant director, Dave Selly. He was a major Next Generation geek, and so I attribute a lot of the Next Generation stuff to Dave. He did a phenomenal job with that.
Yep. And okay, well, and then there's a question from the chat room, and one of my next questions, actually, Incredible View. Who came up with the plot for Space Quest 5?
Well, the plot, as far as the overall overarching storyline of the plot, that was me. I developed that, and worked closely with Dave to kind of work out the details and the characters, and developing all that stuff and the story details and the dialogue.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, awesome. Well, here's the box for Space Quest 5. Did you design that, or did you have? Actually, I think you did mention yesterday that somebody else had designed this box as well. Same guy, T. Robinson.
Yeah, Terry Robinson did this, and it's a very distinctive style of his. And an interesting tidbit is that originally the box art was created by the art director for this project, Sean Sharp, very talented artist and sci-fi geek, and comic book artist traditionally. And he actually did a piece of artwork for this, which I wish I had because it was beautiful. Just a different style, different from Terry's style, very much more comic book looking. And I hope he still has that. I'm gonna have to ping him and see if he still, by chance, has hung on to that, because it was just an amazing piece of artwork. Anyway, but then Sierra felt like, well, we really needed to make this fit more into the theme of the style of the games that we'd already established, the box art, and so Terry basically redid the art in his style, more of an airbrush style, and that's what we went with on the box.
Yeah, very, very cool. And seems I have some other photo or something that was dug up. Hang on, let me see if yeah, it's this one. Whoa! What the heck? Where did this come from?
So the back of the box. I think Scott and I had started a tradition of getting our pictures on the back of the box, doing some crazy spacey thing, and so it put us in that universe. And so, yeah, that was that's from my tin toy collection, and I just took that picture a little while ago to show you guys. I still have that. As Scott can attest to, when he was out here, I've got way too many toys. So we grabbed that and used that on the back of the box, superimposed my image on there.
Now, you guys would love to see the collection of stuff that Mark has. it's just amazing. He's got
Nice.
what do you have, like 3 or 4 Robbie the Robots or something, and then just so many cool tin toys. Just beautiful, beautiful collection.
They're definitely a source of inspiration for me, so I always kind of draw from that.
I remember you mentioning that when we were in Sierra in Oakers, that I never really thought about it, and then when I saw them in Eugene, it all clicked. It was like, wow, Mark was not kidding when he was talking about how much these mean to him, and they're the kind of things that I played it with when I was a kid, and I did and I didn't appreciate, I didn't realize how, not that I think about it. Yeah, I saw some of these things when I was a kid, but I didn't, they were just, the way they were put together was really interesting, and the little motors that they sometimes had in them, the little flywheel things, but just really inspirational.
Yeah, really cool, man. Really neat stuff. Yeah, well, it was great. I mean, I loved I think it was like the newspaper, the Galactic. Oh my gosh, I can't believe
Galactic
Inquirer.
Thank you, the Galactic Inquirer.
I'm looking at my copy right now. In
that
fact,
was brilliant. Yeah, it's just absolutely brilliant. The way that was.
And again, that was
put together.
something that came towards the very end of the project, and it was always, as Scott and I experienced, it was a great way to get everybody on the project involved, to doing something kind of fun, and letting everybody contribute and feel like, definitely feel a part of the completion of the game.
Sometimes we had to talk people into it, but they would come along reluctantly. But I think in the end they enjoyed it, and when we wanted them to, we wanted people to feel the sense of inclusion, because the games, were done by a team. Mark and I did stuff, Mark did stuff, I did stuff, but we had people that backed us, and really helped to carry the ball, and so they all deserved something, anything we could give them.
Yeah, and of course, it was also a way to put our, not copy protection, no, it wasn't really copy protection, but our navigation map, cleverly disguised as Guru Draxon's prediction.
That picture, Ken.
Yeah, this is great. Alien hoax.
That's when Ken started, when he had adopted his corporate.
My baby is a one-headed mutant.
I remember being very nervous about that picture, because I wasn't quite sure if Ken would go along with that, and as I recall, I think we ran that by him, and he thought it was fine. He got a kick out of it.
I love the transporter bloopers.
But definitely, we kept, in the spirit of what Scott and I had done before, and, poking fun at everything we can think of.
You too can be a game designer.
Yeah, there's some interesting stories behind everybody in these pictures. I mean, they were all members of the team, but most of them have gone on to bigger and better things in the game industry, and still in the business.
Yeah.
Is that Barry?
A lot of them still in Eugene.
Is that Barry Smith?
No, that's Mike Yonke, who is, I believe he's an art director at the Buzz Monkey Studio here in Eugene.
Oh, because he looks so much like him.
Spaced Out Quest co-creator.
Ken. Oh, by the way, somebody asked if Ken smiled. Yes, he does smile, and yes, he does laugh. He has a really hearty laugh, and it's just that we easily tend to catch him at all the wrong times.
Yeah, he always has on his studio head face.
Yeah, exactly.
His game face.
Former sci-fi dump's wife for me.
When you're hanging with Ken, though, in a social situation, he smiles as much as anybody in the room, and he jokes, and he's got a really high, his voice kind of cracks when he laughs, and he's fun to be with. And so yeah, it's cool stuff. I mean, he could walk into a room and demoralize people sometimes, just because of the pressures he's feeling. Yeah, he had that knack, definitely. He could suck the air out of a room, and then we'd have to, those of us in charge of the project or whatever, would have to kind of like we'd have to reinflate the room. But it was during some really tough times that he was most famous for that. So.
Yeah, some interesting motivational skills for sure. But yeah, if you weren't a hardy fella and you couldn't take it, and you could walk away with your tail between your legs for sure. But
he
definitely challenged you to do your best.
Yeah, he forgot there were way too many X-Acto knives in the art rooms, for instance.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen a CEO or anything like that that's ran a multi-million dollar, billion dollar, whatever company that didn't have a knack for motivating somehow. I love this though. I
Yeah,
love this.
and Ken came up from the ranks. I mean, he came up from being a programmer. Ken did stuff at a very early age, and so he missed out on a lot of young years. I think he missed out on a lot of kid years, as perhaps maybe Roberta did as well. When Ken started working some really big jobs as a mainframe programmer very young, and so. Yeah, and then Sierra was fun for a few years, and then things got serious. And, all of a sudden, you had this money, and the company had grown like a weed. So it was a really roller coaster ride for Ken and Roberta as far as Sierra went. It's some stuff that I don't think people remember, and I don't think has ever been properly documented. And I hope someday that Ken will write a book about it.
These photos are just so great, man. You guys did such a great job.
Yeah, that picture of
I like the one with
looking
the
at
scanner.
the Star Trek compendium is truer than you think. I mean, that's kind of what the process we were going through.
Planet invaded by farmers. That's great, though.
I don't know what Space Quest was programmed in because, as we've pointed out, I wasn't on this project.
I talked about, gosh, it would have been great to use Dynamics as system, but in the end, we ended up using SCI. And had to train everybody on the team how to use it. And there's a picture of you, Dietrich. You remember you?
Yeah. You still a friend of Mark Hood's. They stay in. They stay in contact. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, Mark Hood himself did some cameo coding on Space Quest. I remember now.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, you came on board to kind of help to train the team to use SCI. So he was an integral part of the development team.
Very nice guy and very generous with his knowledge, as is Mark Hood. But yeah, he's just a really pleasant guy.
Yeah, he was great.
We found out that we had each worked within a mile of each other when I had moved to Chicago.
Really?
Yeah, in Rosemont, Illinois, which is actually just on the edge of northwest Chicago. I have somebody asked if I played through SQ5. I did play through SQ5 just in a playthrough because I ran through all the games. It was one of those things that I mentioned about Roberta giving me advice, and she suggested that I go through this, and it was one of those things that was necessary to do because of trying to maintain continuity through the games as well. Because I honestly didn't know that Space Quest 5 was in production. And I'm sure Mark had no clue about this either until I saw people standing around a monitor in Gruka's office. It had been sent down. I think a QA-able version had been sent down to us, and Gruka was running through it, and a bunch of people were standing in his office, and I heard people talking about it, and I was going, what? And that was so that was when I first learned about Space Quest 5. Oh, that looks like
Chris,
one of those.
Another little interesting bit of trivia. If you were to scroll back down to that. Draw Drippy cartoon.
Okay, hang on.
I don't know how many people would actually be interested or know, but that is an actual cartoon from a very famous cartoonist by the name of Basil Wolverton. I don't know if that's familiar to you, Scott, but he's been around forever. I think he was drawing those kind of crazy-looking characters like in the 50s. And
yeah, I remember those.
We contacted his estate, and they allowed us to reprint that image. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh yeah, he made some really cool '60s art.
Just some totally grotesque characters that he would come up with.
Oh yeah, it was amazing.
Very Mad Magazine-like, and in fact, I think he actually did some illustration for Mad Magazine in its very early years.
TSN.
Somebody asked what I was doing during the time. Like I said, I was working in the writer's block, and I think we were starting to work on coming up with a collection of the first 4 games, and which was one of the first that had ever been done. We started an anthology. So, anyway, enough about that.
Well, we're ready for the videos, guys. Now listen up. This is gonna be a little different because there's 25 videos to play through. So what I'm going to do, everybody, is I'm going to try to skip through certain sections, and I'm sorry, but we're going to have to, or we'll never finish this thing. today.
Hope you got a big glass of water, Mark.
Yeah, yeah. So
Man.
we are going to try to move kind of quickly through these videos, but this was a long game. Mark made a long game. It's all his fault. Okay, don't take it out on me. I'm just the messenger here, but
Sorry.
we'll go ahead and start that out.
Sorry
Right.
for giving your money's worth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
I won't do it again.
Hold up.
Designer, bad.
Bad designer. Bad designer.
All right, I kind of have probably have the music muted as well, everybody, or at least it might be playing lightly. There's no voiceover or anything for this one, so there is the Sierra logo that Mark actually designed, and actually the music for that was actually made by Ken Allen. Music for the Sierra logo. That typical Sierra logo start out deal.
Yeah, that logo has been in play for a lot of years, since Mark developed it before we even got into gaming.
Yeah, that was one of the last things I actually did before being involved in the King's Quest game and doing graphics. Getting graphics.
I was so jealous of the fact that you got to have that beautiful Space Quest 5 graphic. It was beautiful. It had that alien feel to it. Just so crisp and foreboding.
Which one is that?
The Space Quest 5, just the lettering on the
the opening.
Yeah, it was. I loved it.
Here's a question from the chat room from David. Is StarCon a reference to Star Control?
Star Control. No, I don't believe so. I mean, I think everything. I could safely say everything is a riff on Next Generation, and
Okay, guys, I'm going to kind of skip through just a bit here.
Star Trek universe.
Yeah, there are a lot of things in, for instance, if you read Tom Clancy books and stuff, and you read about sub-cores and stuff like that, there's a lot of that kind of that kind of terminology that actually exists in our military. But it's not star related. It's usually PatCon or AtlantCon, that kind of thing.
And Mark, did you do a lot of the dialogue writing, or did you?
It was a combination of Dave and I. We both collaborated on that.
Beautiful artwork in this game too. Very.
As hard as we tried to capture the magic of Scott's dialogue, I think we fell short. But
Oh.
couldn't replace the magic, Scott. Sorry.
Or the madness. Yeah, it takes a very special person to be as psychologically damaged as I am.
We gave it our best shot.
I appreciate that, Mark. Thank you.
And this game is sorely lacking voice. Man, I would have loved to have been able to do a voice version of this game.
Yeah, having 4 and 6 with voices and then not this is a crime.
That's too bad you're not playing sound, because I was actually very happy with the sound work on this game.
There you go. Can you hear it?
No, we couldn't hear any yesterday.
No.
Oh, okay. Hang on. I can make it where you guys can hear it.
Oh, I'm muted, remember? Oh, of course, it should be coming from the other feed. Oh.
All right, you guys should be able to hear
Is it
sound
because
now.
we're muted, Chris?
You
There we go.
You should be able to hear it now. The chat room should have been able to already. Wow. All right. So here we go. There goes Elvis. Great. Beautiful, man. This beautiful graphics.
Yeah.
Definitely
You're right.
more subdued palette than I think what we've had in the previous games. Good or bad.
Honestly, I used to, when I saw this, I thought, this is Roger Beamish.
Roger Bemis.
Because I remember when what's his name? I forget the other game, Beamish game, but it seemed like Dynamics had a slightly shifted palette, and It didn't seem like it was crisp as ours at Sierra Oakers. I never quite understood that, especially not being an artist.
Again, guys, it's
Well,
kind of
there's definitely a reason for that. Sean Sharp, who was the art director on this, who did most of these background paintings, at least the illustration part, worked on Willie Beamish for sure.
Oh, okay. So this was his style and his choices. Okay, that makes perfect sense. Color temperature. That's a good one, Coconut. Thanks, man.
Again, just as a reminder, everybody out there listening, I am skipping through some of the videos, so it's going to skip a good bit, even more than normal, because
I
I'm
love
going to
the
be
shifty eyes on Roger there.
I'm gonna just trying to make sure we get through all these videos because there's a lot of them.
Sure.
Definitely try to skip through the stuff that's a little bit repetitive.
We definitely spent a lot of time developing the story for this thing, and man, I wish I had the photos, because we did it was like 2 solid walls of storyboards for this game, and basically mapping out all the story elements and the puzzles and everything. And we spent a lot of time in pre-production doing that. And in fact, I remember we had our big reveal to the studio head. The whole team sat in a conference room, and we walked them through every single storyboard and explained the game to them. And it was like a 3-hour ordeal. And man, were we glad to get done with that. Get out of there.
It was
I know
like
the
a
studio
playthrough.
head was. Had to keep him awake.
Proof positive that studio heads should never be involved in games. Except in our case.
Yeah, I remember when it was all done, he woke up and said, "Yeah, great, okay, yeah."
He
fine.
woke up.
Get to work.
Where's my toothbrush? What day is it?
Hope people picked up on the clue there. I mean, we put the 2 guys with the biggest craniums next to you in the classroom there as a clue that you should maybe look at their tests.
Yeah. Love this music here. Kind of reminds me of Pee Wee Herman. And sorry guys, this is not rolling. This is just Sound Blaster. I have the rolling files, so we might play some.
Somebody asked if we'd ever had any game parts vetoed. The only things that we ever had vetoed, Mark, if I'm not mistaken, is that it was just the issues with like Radio Shack and Toys R Us, where we had to make changes.
Yeah, Sierra became very risk averse when it come to that stuff later on as the lawsuits came rolling in. And I think that was just a fact that attested to
Everybody's so lit.
popularity of our games. I mean, the fact that more and more people were playing them, and we were becoming more and more visible. So we had to be more careful about that stuff.
And it also showed how companies, corporations were buying these companies out, and they had big legal staffs, and they were a lot more litigious. It was just a sign of the times.
I'm sorry, I was laughing. Classic Gamer 81 said Dreamweaver. That's totally was it.
Absolutely. That was what we were going for. I said, we got to have a Dreamweaver moment here.
That's great. Alright, just kind of skipping through. I love this guy here.
Yeah, we had to figure out a way to bridge Space Quest 4 and work Beatrice into here somehow. And I thought the best way to do that was to make her absolutely hate Roger at the beginning of the game.
How often hate becomes love.
Yeah, classic love story.
Ha!
Ben wants her, I can tell.
How soon after Space Quest 4 did you start regretting the name Wankmeister? Trolls.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I would say like the first time I read it, I thought, oh my gosh. Okay, Scott, we'll go with it.
Yeah, I was surprised by that too. I was surprised I thought of it.
It was an
Beatrice,
inspired moment, though.
Beatrice was one thing. Wankmeister was a whole other thing. I must have been watching. I think I fell asleep watching some old Married with Children episodes or something, and Peg Bundy's. I think Peg Bundy's wasn't Peg Bundy's maiden name something that had to do with Wank. I forget. Wank something County in Wisconsin or something in the clan. Hell, I could be wrong.
Yeah, if there's anything I regret about at least the beginnings of this game was that we might have had a little too much story and not enough gameplay.
Well, yeah, I know, but you also got good reviews for this game having some of the best storyline, really. I've read. Here we go. Roger's aptitude test is about to come back. All these ships coming up here, brilliant.
Yeah, Sean Sharp really had it going on as far as his ship design and the details that he put into things, and we were definitely on the same page when it came to making the high tech look of everything.
Mm-hmm. Question in the chat room: what inspired the whole intergalactic garbage dumping plot?
Well, that was, Roger is. The thing is that no matter where Roger goes or how high he moves up the ladder, he's never going to be able to get away from his janitorial roots, and that was the thinking there.
Yeah.
Here he is, a captain of a starship, and it's a garbage scow. I think people get that. And we had the opportunity to introduce a lot of interesting characters. That was one of our goals, was to create an ensemble cast, if you will, of memorable characters. And
Here's a question from
silence.
Oscar Tong. This is an email question that came in. He's asking, I guess his question is kind of drawn out, but I think what his question is, was it planned for the game to be a lot more dramatic than the previous one? Were you going for more plot in this game? Was that the intention, or was it just the fact that you just had a different group of people helping you work with it, or how did that play out?
I think the intent was to develop the characters even more and to provide a little more depth. I mean, with every game that Scott and I did, that was our intent. We were evolving as writers and game designers, and the technology was evolving, and so we knew we had to push the envelope. Again, we're creating software entertainment here, and so story is key, and having more characters obviously adds to that. Gives you more material to work with.
Sure.
Classic Gamer 81. I didn't have any choice on whether or not any of these characters showed up in Space Quest 6, even though the company promised the game to me. It was not given to me. I came in way late in the process, so I didn't have a choice. It's just the way things worked out at the corporation.
And again, I think with every game, I think Scott and I thought, well, this will be the last one. This will be the last one. We'll never do another one of these.
Yeah.
And so
we kept thinking,
I don't think we ever,
enough.
as we're making a game, thought beyond that. I'm speaking for myself, but
I think Beatrice Wankmeister shows shows the thinking there.
Exactly.
The state of mind.
I think the only game that we thought, well, okay, we're leaving it wide open so we don't paint ourselves into a corner here was the end of Space Quest 3 or Space Quest 2, excuse me, with sending Roger out into space in suspended animation.
And then, just in case, we allowed ourselves a little bit of space for one or two more sequels by setting setting time travel into Space Quest 10 and 12 and so on. There was a little bit of space between Space Quest 4 and the other sequels that we went to. But yeah, I mean, I think that was our only conscious decision, if I remember correctly, Mark.
But as you said, Scott, when we're coming up with ideas, there's always this pile of stuff that's laying on the floor that didn't stick to the wall, so to speak, that is material to revisit when we're doing the next game. And I think there's a lot of those ideas that didn't make it into the current game that we were working on that eventually made it into the next game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's amazing how things would become. All of a sudden, it was like, yeah, well, that was really crap then, but now what? Now that actually seems like it would fit in and make sense. And plus, we had a better idea of how to. We like Mark said, we became better at those things, and so we figured out, well, we can take this, and here's what we can do with it. And when all of a sudden we gave it a lot more value.
The only exception to that, of course, is Planet of the Poodles. That just hasn't quite caught on. I haven't sold Scott on that idea yet.
But thank goodness you thought of it, and I'll be forever grateful.
So yeah, adventure game pacing, man, kind of painful, isn't it?
Here we go.
Yeah, you guys had some good interface things in here too.
Yeah, again, as kind of a hallmark of our games is our latter games, Scott. The whole idea was to make the player feel like they could go anywhere and do anything, and have them feel like they were in control to a certain degree. And that was certainly something we tried to build on here. Is you've got this whole starship that you're in command of, and you can bark orders and control where you go, and I'm
WD-40.
sure players appreciate that and enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think
WD-40. Hey. We could get into a whole discussion about that, but might be best not to. We had several female team members, artists, and that I think they weren't real crazy about the WD-40 plot point and working on the art for that.
A hefty bag. Out of there.
Space trash.
PCJ.
That would have been some great product placement for Hefty.
Yeah. WD-40, hefty bags, Hoover. Somebody mentioned Hoover earlier. But you guys had product placement. I don't know if it showed or if we're past it now. But
No, the Sprint ad that's coming up.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That's an interesting story in itself too. None of us were very crazy about having to incorporate that into the game, but we had it foisted upon us.
Frederick.
But we again turned that around into a positive because the teleporter, the Sprint teleporter, didn't always work very well. It got not the best reception.
Here comes the Sprint teleporter. Actually, it'll be up on the screen shortly.
Let's just say you couldn't hear a pin drop.
I forgot about that.
Well, thought it was coming up. Maybe not. Guess we'll see that in a minute.
I guess I'm lagging behind quite a bit because we're still messing with Spike in the trash chute.
Yeah, you'll see it in a second.
I see him standing underneath a set of panels that are showing Pong playing.
Oh, there you go.
Nice touch. And I remember seeing Pong in a bowling alley and going, Boy, these are stupid.
Here's a question in the chat room: how big in percentage did product placement really give for the development? Do you remember?
Well, I couldn't. I don't recall the dollars that we got from that. I wouldn't say it was a huge amount, but it certainly helped. Offset the development costs a little bit. In hindsight, it really wasn't so bad. I think it was kind of neat, actually. Kind of lent. It was a nice touch.
Frederick, I didn't repeat the malfunctioning teleporter gag. That was done by Josh Mandel, since he designed the the majority of the the whole theme in the first half at least of Space Quest 6.
Yeah. We plan on doing
I came on late on the project.
Yeah, we're gonna do a Space Quest 6 commentary also, guys. So you guys will get to hear all about that as well. Don't worry.
As much as I can remember.
Yeah, we didn't have near enough fun with that teleporter gag as we wanted to do. Actually, I was very reluctant to do the teleporter thing because, I was like, I didn't know if that was a technology we wanted to introduce to the Space Quest universe because it could create all kinds of.
Well, technically, in Space Quest 4, when you go up the elevators at the end,
space-time continuum.
At the end of Space Quest 4, or actually, I guess it's Space Quest 12 technically, but in Space Quest 4 or Space Quest 12, you're using the teleporter elevators to get to where Vohal is. You actually get teleported from the bottom to the top.
Ah, good point.
Sorry, I didn't mean to go Trekkie on you there, but
that's okay.
Actually, in episode 36 of season 2.
You're one of those guys that Shatner yelled at in Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, that's a great episode.
People get alive.
That's a great episode, man.
Yeah, that's got to be on YouTube somewhere. If you guys have never seen it, you got to pull it up and look at it.
Yeah, that's great.
Where Shatner's hosting Saturday Night Live, and they do a thing where he's at a convention. It's priceless.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of times a question pop up about was Spaceballs an inspiration for us, and I personally no. Actually, I didn't even like the movie.
I didn't either. I thought Mel Gibson really hit the wall there.
Or Mel Brooks.
I'm not Mel Brooks. I'm sorry. Mel Gibson did it in a whole other way.
He hit another wall.
I mean, there were a couple things, like the Darth helmet. There were a couple, funny things in there, but he had so much talent. And the only funny thing I thought in there that was in there was the marketing that they did. They had all the swag stuff. You could buy all this Spaceballs promotional material right there in the movie. Lunch boxes and all that crap. I thought that was pretty clever, but otherwise I thought the movie was pretty damn stupid. I mean, not in a good way.
Here we go.
And I'm a Hugh Mel Brooks fan.
I enjoyed Spaceballs,
his
but
earlier stuff was hilarious.
Slapstick comedy, I like slapstick, like that whole slapstick stuff. But
and
there was
Robin
some kind of
Men in Tights and
boring stuff in it, though.
World and Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein. It was a big Gene Wilder project also. He doesn't get enough. I don't think people realize how much of that was Gene Wilder.
So here we are, getting ready to, I guess, kill the WD-40. And
Ooh, she's
really
nice.
cool animated graphics here.
Yeah, so WD-40 is obviously a retread of the Arnold Robo-Schwartz character, but it was such a great character that we wanted to revisit it, but put a different spin on it.
Kind of his illegitimate daughter.
Yeah.
Beautiful artwork on this particular level too, or this particular world.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm sure people have picked up on the similarities between this one and you'll have to forgive me that I don't recall the name of what we called the planet on. Estros. Yeah.
Yes.
Of course.
But even better.
It's kind of that multi-leveled terrain.
Yeah, the trees kind of have a Japanese look to them, or a Pacific Coast, Central Pacific Coast look.
Yeah, a bit of a bonsai thing going there.
Yeah, yeah. But there are trees like that in like Carmel.
Oh yeah, like the cypress trees on Carmel area.
Yeah, definitely. I used to spend a lot of time over there.
Yeah, you had a relative or somebody that lived near or under very close to the bridge at Big Sur, right?
Yeah, the Bixby Canyon Bridge, south of Carmel.
Famous bridge for guys' sake.
Yeah, it's been in 100 movies, TV shows, and there's a Lincoln Mercury ad right now that has people driving across it.
But you actually had a place right down below there, right?
Yeah, they had a closed canyon. It was part of the old what did they call it? The Rio, whatever. What it was is the old trail that the missionaries would use to go from mission to mission to mission, and they were actually on part of it. But there was a gate, and you couldn't get to that bridge, to that beach, without going through there. If you did try to climb down, many people died trying. Quite honestly, in fact, when my in-laws were there to buy their house, a couple had been parked at the top, and the husband said, "Oh, honey, I want to take some pictures." She said, "Okay, I'll just sit in the car and read." He went out and took some pictures and never came back until she was just reading away, and finally a police officer knocked on her window and said, "Are you such and such?" And they had to tell her husband had died. He'd fallen off the cliff.
Wow.
Somebody asked when Roger meets Zandra, and that story hasn't been told yet. But something tells me they're going to run into each other in the future, and there's going to be a love triangle thing going on.
Yeah, what was the Daiki one's name? I can't even remember. There may be a little issue there. This is a progressive world, after all. I'd like to think.
Sorry, Chris. Where are we at now?
We're killing
Roger's
WD-40.
Roger's about to do a swan dive off of a ledge.
He's still trying to put away WD-40.
Yep. He's hiding
I
inside.
know you're here somewhere, Wilco. Come out and face me like a woman.
Face me.
It's your destiny.
A lot to go through just to get a cloaking device. Jeez.
Yeah, who thought of this?
Banana bomb. Owned.
Oh, the whistle! Didn't we solve the whistle problem by snuffing Arnoid? Yeah, he in Space Quest 3, he was willing to forgive the debt with Gypazoid novelty or something from Roger. But
yeah, WD-40 didn't get the memo, I guess.
Yeah, apparently not. Arnoid made the deal, but he didn't bother to clear it with his bosses, his contractor or whoever. Conservative Eugene? I bet the banana and the exhaust pipe went down well in conservative Eugene. Is Eugene conservative, Mark?
Not at all. Gene's very liberal.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
It's college town, for crying out loud.
Yeah, it's a great place. I really enjoyed it. I've been there a few times, and yeah, I've been on both sides of I-5, and hung out with Mark Hood and Mark Crow, and I love that place.
No, if anything, the twin freeze blasters towards the end of the game is what got me in the most trouble with the crew at Dynamics.
This looks great.
That was kind of a hard sell.
Yeah. When you're not conservative and you're more and there's more of a women's rights movement going on.
Exactly.
That's a little tougher. It's tougher to be a real. It's tougher to be a male chauvinist pig. Can you guess the mountain that Ben's been to skiing in Bend, Oregon? Is that how you mess up your knee, Ben? I don't. I wouldn't be able to tell you. Mark knows a bit about Bend.
Here we go. A bar. Can always
A
count
bar?
on that. It's coming.
A bar? Who
And
thought?
look, the Sprint logo.
Oh, more drinking. More drinking in video games. For shame.
Too many 30-foot drops, Ben. Ouch. Yeah, I understand that. My knees are still hurting from all the times I used to boulder hop down mountains in Yosemite. I definitely screwed up some my joints.
I regret that
I
I've
wouldn't give it
never
up, though. I
been to
wouldn't
the
give it
top
up.
of Half Dome.
Wow.
I was up there twice.
We
I went up
do
there
a
the
rap
first time, and my
party.
camera didn't work. It had light leaks, so I had to go and go to the top again, just so I could get some pictures.
We'll have to make Mark climb it for the rap party.
No thanks.
Yeah,
Like,
if you never want
I'll
to see him
pass on
again,
that.
that's fine. That's a tough climb.
My brother had tried to convince me several times to go with him up there. He's done it many times, and no, that didn't sound like fun.
There's actually a shorter route if you can actually walk up the south side of it rather than go up the north side. And if you have the right kind of shoes on, like climbing shoes, you can actually walk up Half Dome on the north side or on the south side, like I said. And, you don't have to take that big
Helicopter
long
would be
trail
more
all
my
the way
speed.
back. Yeah, it's not a place you want to be with. There's a cloud in sight, though.
Oh yeah.
It's huge on top.
I don't know how many people have actually died trying to either falling or getting struck by lightning climbing up that thing.
Somebody said, "Is the salesman earlier supposed to be?" You kind of resembled Al Lowe.
Oh, the giant lava lamp.
I remember this is great, like Battleship.
Is that out yet? Battleship? Has anybody seen it?
No, I think it's supposed to release in late June, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay. I don't have my hopes up about
But
that.
there are already. I saw that there were already some bad Rotten Tomato numbers, but I don't. You know, if it's not out already, then why is that? How could they be giving it a rating if they haven't seen it? So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they released it earlier. I just saw it in a magazine this morning. The release date. Are you going to be going to see Prometheus, Mark, on Friday?
Pardon?
Are you going to be going to see Prometheus on Friday?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If I don't go to the midnight show the night before,
Yeah. I don't have anybody to go with, so I'll be doing it on my own. I'm hoping, trying
I'll
to
be
stay away.
geeking out. Well, we can text each other during the movie, and so we can.
Yeah, because people love that.
Yeah.
You guys could
Let's just
two-way
Bluetooth it.
video call.
Okay.
You could Mark. You could put Scott next to you in a seat, and Scott, you could do the same for Mark.
Yeah.
We need. Okay, well, part of our budget's going to cardboard cutouts,
You weren't supposed to tell him that.
I can record the movie on my
Or we could-
phone. And
Well, it's cheaper than the blow-up dolls that Scott wanted, but
Well, I was just going to mention that, Chris.
I'm just trying to save us money.
I didn't want to give Mark more art issues.
I love Mr. Plinkett's reviews. Those are hilarious. Floyd Turkowski.
A thumbs up if you want to lower your IQ.
We need Mr. Plinkett to review our game when it comes out. Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be something. Even if we got pinged hard, it would be entertaining and an
So
honor.
I got another email from Oscar Tong. Oscar, if you're in the chat room, man, why don't you just type it in the chat room? Your email it's cool though. I'll read it out loud. Oscar Tong sent me an email, and this is from earlier. I'd ask you, but I guess I had misunderstood it. Basically, he wants to know. He says, "What I wanted to know was why Space Quest 5 felt more like a drama with comedic moments instead of a comedy with dramatic moments." So there you have it.
Wow, okay. That's surprising because yeah, I don't think of it that way at all. I think it was very comedic throughout.
Yeah, I thought there was a lot of comedy in it for sure. I know there was a lot more storyline in this one.
Hmm.
At least from a fan's perspective, that was how I took it. At
Maybe
least,
maybe that's just how why he thinks of it that way.
but I hope I got it right that time, Oscar. And I was just messing with you. I'm not mad that you emailed me again. That's what this is for. What's sad is that now everybody knows I'm checking my email while we do this.
We're just messing, Oscar. Ah, Space Monkeys. Yeah,
The
that
Space
was one of my
Monkey
favorite
was monkeys was
gags in the whole thing.
great. Oh, I loved that.
Who cannot love Space Monkeys?
I mean, it's just great. I'd like a wallpaper.
And that was a bit of art that I insisted on doing myself. So I really had a clear idea in my head of what I wanted these little space monkeys to
Very
look like.
cool. I love this one right here. I love the one that.
I was a big fan of the Brian Shrimp sea monkeys.
There were staples in all comics, along with X-ray specs.
Yeah,
and,
exactly. Yeah, the
the
back
hand,
page.
the hand buzzard, and all those things. So many cool things in there. I wanted
Interesting.
I just thought X-ray specs. I've got to have them.
Yeah.
Especially once the hormones started flowing. And before,
Interesting story. Long after Space Quest shipped and I was on to other games at Dynamics, we explored the idea of doing a Sea Monkeys, getting the Sea Monkeys license and doing a Sea Monkeys screensaver.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah, we actually got in touch with the guy the guy that came up with Sea Monkeys, and he was still alive, barely. And we got kind of a verbal approval to do this game, but unfortunately we couldn't sell it higher up the chain.
Oh.
That's too bad. That's cool that you guys got in touch with him, knowing that he got a chance to know that people still
Yeah,
liked what
and it was the
he'd
same
done.
situation. He was an older guy who wasn't tuned into email or anything like that, and we just corresponded snail mail with him and got a really nice long letter from him. It's pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool.
The inventor of Sea Monkeys.
I remember the music from this Planet always creeped me out.
VSB. I'm not sure what those.
At least you didn't put any eyes, like, looking out through the shadows, then I would have nightmares.
Ball specs back. Thank you.
Oh.
I love that creepy dude in the lower right hand corner of the screen. You guys have to watch when it pops up. Great stuff. Little arcade action. You guys still there?
Who?
The two guys.
Oh, sorry, I
I'm
shut
here.
off my mic when the music started playing to avoid.
Oh, was it too loud?
Well, it was on my machine, but yeah, the loogie dodging, that was kind of a fun little sequence.
Yeah, there's not much I can add to any of this. I'm a spectator.
I just want to make sure I didn't lose you. We haven't had any big technical difficulty, so just any minute now I'm expecting it to hit.
Yeah, I hate that we just jinxed it, but so far Alabama's battery hasn't run out on the internet. What was that? Is that a conjoined moon there, Mark? Or does it just have this really interesting nipple?
Yeah, whatever.
One of those?
No, it's just yeah.
I just like
Twin moons.
it's like a navel orange that kind of like got out of control. It's an outie instead of an innie. Ben thinks
Now I'm just seeing a clown with a big clown nose.
Oh,
Thanks
I'm sorry.
for that, Scott.
I didn't mean to turn on my video camera.
All right, silver bullet.
I didn't say one, Frederick. There's so much to do.
Well, hey, you know what? I just noticed that on the side of the screen there's all this chatting going on.
Chatting?
Sorry, guys, I haven't been paying attention.
You mean the chat room?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go to the green planet. At least that's what I call it. Very cool artwork here as well.
Some planets have more than one moon. Sometimes you can only see one of them. Sometimes you can see more than one of them. Check out our own galaxy.
They scrimped us on the music on this planet. Same music.
Tight bastards.
Hey, sorry about that. See, that's what happens when people don't adequately fund your Kickstarter. You get repeat music.
That's right.
Uh-oh.
Let's see.
Somebody asked how much this artwork was mine. Actually, very little. We had a really talented group of artists that took direction well and just give them some real basic pencil sketches of what we wanted and ran with it.
There's the Homer Simpson doll.
Yeah, Frederick and you guys, you don't have any idea how much energy and time the Kickstarter campaign takes of us.
It's a full-time job.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, no doubt.
I'd love to be playing other games, doing things, having a social life would be wonderful, but that's just not a possibility when this is going on. Ask anybody who's been through the process.
After we're fully funded, Scott and I can head off to the Caribbean or something and brainstorm.
Yeah, we're going to get on the real beach. Get some of those drinks with the umbrellas in them.
We do feel like we're having to work harder on our Kickstarter than anybody else, just because it's just the way it is. I think there is that Kickstarter fatigue that we're dealing with, and we're definitely having to try harder, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I was conversing after Sunday when Ken and Roberta showed up on our chat. Ken sent me an email, and he said, "I'll bet you guys are really nervous." And I said, "Oh yeah, definitely." I said, "I think I know. I think I have a fraction of an understanding of what you must have been through when you were trying to keep the whole place going and all the games and all the people employed and so on." And but this is something that's totally different. And Ken's a hardened veteran of keeping a corporation going and making it big, so it wouldn't be as nerve-wracking to him. But he totally sympathizes with what we're going through.
Hey, Chris, so are you paused on this image of Roger hanging by his chonies?
No, shouldn't be.
Hanging by his chonies?
Or Beatrice hanging by Roger's chonies?
No, that's forward. Actually, I did have a question
How's
for
that
you,
for a
though.
visual?
This is a chat room.
It definitely rang with me.
Here's a chat room question for you, Mark. Says, ask them about the theme in the genetics lab scene. It really sounds like a well-known jazz music. I cannot remember the name though. Was it a coincidence?
Wow, we haven't come up to that yet. So maybe when we hit that, we can.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, wait till we get there. All right.
hit me with that question again at that point in
You
time.
guys should be seeing Beatrice in the capsule thing.
Yeah,
If
I'm seeing it now.
yeah, if not, then just refresh your screen.
Everybody together.
Comes a nice.
As hard as we tried, we couldn't figure out how to get Beatrice into that that outfit she's wearing at the end of, in the hologram at the end of Space Quest 4. We're gonna have to wait to see her in that get-up.
If you follow fashion trends, women change their look quite often, and at that point, Beatrice was in her Princess Leia phase. She,
Yeah.
Well, we've got a riff on that.
Ow,
The crazy costume
my
in
knee.
that movie.
my knee, ow, ow,
What in the world?
ow.
Scott.
Scott, are you okay?
I hurt my, I slammed my knee on the desk. Oh, God. Ow! I feel like on the
So
Family
did you
Guy.
get another cat?
No, I feel like Lois in Family Guy when she was holding her breast after she. They have that ongoing joke thing on Family Guy where when they get hurt, they just sit there, ow, in the long pause, ow, and it just goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
But that's how hitting a knee feels. Oh. Yeah, I'm a big Family Guy fan. I've seen him over and over. Seth MacFarlane does great stuff, and his team is just incredible. I can't wait to see. I always forget the damn name of it. the new movie that's coming out, The Bear. What is it? Somebody help me out. What's the new Seth MacFarlane movie with Mark Wahlberg and Mila Kunis?
New flick coming out.
Yeah, the one with Ted. Thank you. Old Adventure Gamer
Ted the
83.
Bear.
Ted. I can never remember. Ted
All
the Bear,
right.
yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
we're in the Space
they're good.
Dome.
Okay.
So we're in the. Are we in the airlock?
Yeah, coming
The
into the
vehicle
Space
bay?
Dome right now.
Space Warbird game says Space Venture needs flashback humor, but since it's the first game, it can just keep flashing back to the first scene.
The airlock sequence is interesting because it was our first attempt to try to incorporate computer generated graphics into the game. The little pod, the pre-rendered pod, and something that you guys did a lot more of on Space Quest 6, Scott, like what you guys did with the ships and stuff.
Oh yeah. Yes, BT519. I like Face Guy, but hate Spaceballs. I love actually my main focus on Family Guy is the relationship between Stewie and Brian. That's the best part of it to me.
That's pretty imaginative.
There's no comparison between those two things. I don't know where you get that. I mean, no offense intended, but how you can relate Spaceballs and Family Guy, that's a reach.
I'll say.
Maybe it's because when
Sorry.
Stewie wears the Darth Vader helmet, it's massive. But here we are. We're back in Space Quest 5 in the Space Dome.
Yeah, I
What's
didn't make
with
any
the
reference to
domes?
the
Come on.
Star.
I know,
Yeah.
Mark.
Yeah, somebody needs to do something original with
Yeah,
Adventure.
a bit of a
in
rut
Space.
here.
No, Blue Harvest does not equal Spaceballs, please.
Who can tell me the inspiration for the dome in both this game?
I know.
I
I
know
love
you
the-
know.
It has... Well, I didn't have anything to do with this, but I know.
inspiration for the dome in this game and in our new prototype, or excuse me, living concept art.
Genetics. Sorry, I said that out loud. But you
Cool
guys can't
runnings.
see.
Well, you're kind of half right. It's actually one of my all-time favorite sci-fi flicks.
And my favorite robots.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the guy that did that movie, it predates Star Wars, and he ended going on to do a lot of special effects for the Star Wars film.
And Mr. Ken Allen wins the prize. You get your very own space monkeys.
No
Scott,
fair, we have a ringer.
Yeah.
Ringer in the audience.
Ringer.
Winner, chicken dinner. I actually had a movie poster of Silent Running somewhere. We could throw that up.
Oh my God. I think they put that on just to get people to tune off of their channels.
Somebody throw up a photo of the Silent Running movie poster.
Sorry, Warburg Games, if we missed you posting before Mr. Ken Allen.
So yeah, the Fly deal, obviously a riff on the Fly movie. Had a lot of fun with that. Roger Fly.
120 gig SCSI drives. Corona Ale. That reminds me, Mr. Mark Hood didn't contact me this weekend like he said he would.
Silent Running was a great movie. I think it holds up pretty well even today.
Yeah, definitely so. Yeah, maybe we could come up with a hybrid of Cool Runnings and Silent Runnings. Put the little robots in parkas, stuff, bobsleds. If Dubai can make an indoor skiing facility, I think we can make one in space.
I thought that was a very emotionally packed movie.
I did too.
I actually cried when the little robot... Oh, don't want to spoil it for anybody.
I'm with you, Mark. That movie was very... those robots really hit me emotionally.
And the soundtrack is just beautiful. And the theme song from Joan Baez.
Really? I didn't even know it was her. I'm going to have to pull that thing up and watch it. Do again.
Audio Dane asks if we're still actively soliciting ideas for the game. We are always, our ears are always open for good ideas.
actively stealing ideas.
We'll steal
Absolutely.
anything.
We're not above that. As long as it's a good idea. Legal disclaimer.
Yeah.
All ideas submitted become the property of Guys from Andromeda, LLC.
Send your ideas to unsolicitedgameideas at guysfromandromeda.com. I don't think we have a place that'll catch that, do we, Chris?
You're still on, yeah. Contact at guysfromandromeda.com. That's all you got to do. Put in the subject lines, idea for you to steal.
Unsolicited game idea. Warning: anything sent to Guys from Andromeda become property of Guys from Andromeda.
Getting close to the end.
What happened to my underwear? Burp.
Boy, they were kidding you guys weren't kidding when you said this game was short. We're almost to the end.
Short, yeah. Whose idea was it to burp?
Actually, it was the second idea over something else. I don't know. I'm totally.
Yeah, it kind of ruined that romantic moment, didn't it?
Well, that's the life of Roger Wilco.
I can't catch a break. Reminds me of that line from Ghostbusters. I kiss you, but I have puke breath.
I love this, the mutant guy running around with his squirt gun. It's coming up. I love it. It's very, very genius. Old Sierra Gamer 83. Any proposals? If somebody would just email me, not on Facebook, but email me on our official email, Chris@guysfromandromeda.com. I mean, we're all about proposals, so it'd be the easiest way to reach me if you do that.
Yeah, and I'm unmarried.
I don't know. Is that a how many cylinders is that? Scott, you're a motorhead,
Cylinder?
aren't you? Oh,
How
we
many
look. Oh, I
cylinders
guess
is
we're
it
not
about?
looking at the same thing. I'm looking at the engine room.
I see Drive Online.
Here we are at the bridge.
Oh, okay. I'm lagging behind here.
It's coming. There. Right now, the bridge is up on the screen for everybody. They've got all their squirt guns. Oh, here's Mark's favorite. I'm gonna pause it right here for you.
You're gonna.
Oh, the foot's on
Oh
here.
no!
The WD-40.
Oh no!
Here it is.
He didn't go there.
This reminds me of the Power Pasties. What was that from?
Move along. Nothing to see here.
Oh, where are the Power Pasties? Was that an
You don't
SNL
work with
thing,
any
or
of
was
the
that
women anymore, so
actually in some
Power-
lame movie? Oh yeah, Austin Power. Yeah. Silly me. How did I not know that? Mike Myers totally ripped this off, according to Mootinator.
Yeah.
super soakers.
Yes, he did.
Oh, here we go.
Oh! We used to hear that in the halls a lot. Ooh! Oh! Smeghead.
Wow, a cast of thousands. Is this good for you, Scott?
It's good for me. Actually, I'm enjoying watching because I haven't seen this since Space Quest, before Space
Neither have
Quest.
I. A long time. That spaceship hallway scene, though, that's probably one of my favorites in the whole game.
Oh, I love the detonator. Any second now, it's gonna pop off. Maybe. Chicken timer.
Oh, this game begs to be remade in 3D. course, that's could be said for all of our games, Space Quest games. Yeah, don't forget Spike. Ah,
If only you could have made a Spike plushie. Would have made millions.
What? With your obsession on plushies, Chris?
Scott, I think that's the first time you have ever heard me say that word. And there you go saying.
I don't think so, Chris.
I'm pretty sure.
what was that word again?
You're mad because of the blow-ups
Plushies?
comment I made.
Hasn't plushies come up a few times when we've been talking?
Whatever.
Don't deny it, Chris.
Okay, fine.
Admit your problem. Actually, I've heard it come up, but I. Yeah, exactly. I have my opinion of the game. Incredible View is that they did a great job. I may not have had the same opinion when I saw the demo because it came as such a shock, and that it was being done. And I was definitely not in a good frame of mind then. Overall, it was a really tough time in my life. And but seeing it now and fresh, and seeing all the work that went into it, and having talked to Mark more about it, knowing more about how it all occurred, he did as good a job as he could have done with it, given the situation. Being up at Dynamics, everybody having to learn the system and putting together a team. They did a great job.
Well, what I wanted to do now, I thought would be fun, is it was not too far after this that the Space Quest collection came out, the first one. And Scott, you were involved in the Inside Space Quest video.
Current inside copy.
Current inside copy,
Bring
right?
you the news.
And I thought it would be cool, since Marcus had to do most of the talking here. We'll let Scott do a real quick current inside copy commentary with everybody. You guys in the chat room, you want to do that? Does that sound like fun?
Sure.
Real fast.
Yeah, Mark, that sounds like you're enjoying
Yeah,
the
Mark's
idea
like,
of that.
sure, I'll just tell Scott.
Because
Right
Mark knows he
bus.
was like kind of kicking back and enjoying this thing, and I didn't hear a lot of Phil.
I did want to say that now we wrap this up, but I am really proud of that game and the team. We pulled together to do that. Very talented group of guys. Really enjoyed working with them. All that said, I think the game was missing something in that magic that Scott and I had with our previous titles, and that's really all I got to say about that.
Magic sauce.
The game stands on its own, but I think it could have been so much better with both of us on it, Scott doing the writing and lending his talents to that, and I think on this next game, that's something that we're definitely going to be able to rectify. So
Definitely.
Totally flubbed that, but
No, that was very nice of you to say, Mark. Thank you. I appreciate that. But you guys did a great job. You really did. I mean, considering that it was kind of asked of you and it wasn't your idea, you guys pulled it together and you made a very entertaining game. And for a lot of people, we know a lot of people think this is their favorite Space Quest, and rightly so.
Well, again, it was evolutionary of everything that we had done before, and we're going to continue that evolution with the games that we're going to be doing in the future. So glad everybody enjoyed this, and thanks for all the positive comments and everything. I appreciate that.
Yeah, great stuff, man. Great
Yeah,
stuff.
you definitely pulled together a good team as far as the guys that the people you mentioned that came up with so many great references to Star Trek and Next Generation and stuff like that. Definitely people who were into what they were doing, and you can't ask more of a team than that to put their hearts into something like that.
Very cool, guys. Very cool. I mean, I know I enjoyed Space Quest 5. It was Even though it was a lot of fun, and you could definitely sense that Scott's presence wasn't there, but it was still a fun game. The same thing can be said for Space Quest 6. It was different. It wasn't the two guys.
It didn't quite
together.
have the edge that our previous games had, and
But,
I definitely noticed that was lacking.
but fun, enjoyable all the same. It was interesting to me how it ended up being Scott that ended up doing the inside the Space Quest when Space Quest 5 was out, and I guess they didn't. It made more sense, I guess, logically to put Scott in it anyway. The video, because of just the fact that they were shooting it right there at the headquarters and you were in Dynamics, but.
It was a one-day shoot. They wanted, all of a sudden they said, we need to have a video in here with the anthology to give it more value. And it's like, oh, great. And Leslie Balfour went together and put together this really, really awesome script, and we did a little tweaking on it. And then we did a one-day. We went and grabbed they had built the beautiful Sierra studio for Phantasmagoria, and for Jane's games, and they had a full-on Steadicam that they spent, I forgot how many hundreds of thousands of dollars those things cost back then, but they'd spent all that money on that, and all they would let us have was this funky little piece of crap, high 8 video camera, and so we went and we took the script and we went around, we tried to film it, and we had air conditioners running and all the stuff, and we didn't have access to a lot of rooms and so on, but we filmed what we could, and we took it back, and then finally Bill Crow amazingly looked at it and said, "Oh, hey, maybe there's something here." After we told them what we were going to do, and we made it, and we said, "Well, this is the best we could come up with given the equipment we had," and we didn't have a mic that was worth a damn, and then all of a sudden we have this really nice beta cam, and we have the whole editing editing bay later that night. We did it all. We did the high 8 on one day, and then we did the one with a really nice beta cam with Bill Crow running that, and with Barry running around and doing his incredible commentary. Barry Smith really pulled that thing.
Somebody asked who Barry T. Smith was.
Barry was one of our artists, and Barry has some stand-up background, and he's still out there doing things. You can find Barry on Facebook. If you want to, you can go to my Facebook page, Scott Murphy, and you can follow his link from there if you'd like, because of course there are a few Barry Smiths in the world, and but that'll help you get more directly to him. Barry is a great guy, and he winged his stuff was just totally improv on his part, and I mean, with a few, we'd say, well, here's what we want to do, but then Barry just kind of did what he did naturally, and without a doubt, one of the most naturally funny guys I've ever hung around, and it was so great to have him. He really saved us. Cool. But yeah, it was just kind of a weird thing, and Mark didn't even have a chance to be involved in it. There just wasn't even, he didn't even get it. There wasn't even the opportunity, and it all happened so quickly, and we had to do it real fast.
Yeah.
And so
it's a funny video. You guys did a great job on it.
Yep. Well,
Again, another opportunity for everybody that we work with or you worked with to be involved and get a little get their 15 minutes.
Yeah, we were lucky. Yeah, we were lucky that Roberta just happened to be down from Seattle, and so on, and Jane was cool enough to come on, and just so many cool things. Neil Matz is in there when we do that thing, and Scott Murphy's a bona fide genius. He has that really insane look on his face, which only a person who would say that would have. So it was fun stuff. We got a chance to use people that are people that would never normally have gotten a chance to be on camera. So it was fun to be able to include people, sort of like what we were talking about, Mark, about the being able to put people like you did in Galactic Inquirer and stuff like that, to be able to get teamers in.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to start it up. Here we go.
Current inside copy.
That part's my voice.
Yeah.
Further demonstrating that Scott should seriously have considered a
with two-time Snoop Award
profession.
winner Barry T.
Voice work.
Smith.
Thank you, Mark.
Bringing you the stories that shape America and the world.
And the world.
And the world.
Tonight, Space Quest, behind closed doors.
Good afternoon. I am standing outside the Oakhurst, California offices of Sierra Online, here to bring you an interview with the people who bring you the popular Space Quest series. Why, with me now is Mark Hood, head of research and development here at Sierra Online.
I can't
Mark,
check
what
it
can you
out. I
tell me
can't
about
see it, but check out that what you call it, mullet.
Yeah, Mark Hood is coming up on the screen, and Mark is, yes, and I know we give him enough plugs. What is he is
The official brewer. He's the CEO of the official brewery of this Two Guys from Andromeda Sound Brewery up in Poulsbo, Washington.
Yes. All right, so there we
And
go.
a very good friend.
Gonna go ahead and hit
Space
play
Quest.
again.
Space Quest. Well, we here at Sierra stand behind all of our products, no matter no matter what. I don't think of the Space Quest series as stupid or
Business
juvenile.
up front, party
They're
in the
way more
back.
trouble than it's worth. And I'm not just saying that because of the court order. Good day.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Sure. Is the camera off?
Yeah, sure.
Look, I got to be honest with you. I wasn't here when Ken made the decision to do the Space Quest series, but if I had, things would be a lot different. For one, I wouldn't have an ulcer named after Scott Murphy, you know what I mean? Anyway, see you later.
Mark's
thanks,
quite an
Mark.
actor.
Yeah, he nailed it.
Yikes.
Or unless he wasn't
Sparing
acting,
no
I don't know.
expense to bring you insights and stories you want to know about, I've gathered the entire Sierra Online staff here to see what they think about the Space Quest series. Well, not much.
Not
We're here
much.
to interview Jim Thomas,
that was
president
totally
of Sierra
Barry's
Online. Let's
idea.
go.
Going to that picture and
I
just
have a
holding the
gun.
mic at the different people on the picture.
It's great. I like it. He's like, I got a gun.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. In his natural habitat. Absolutely. Jim Thomas, what do you think about the Space Quest series?
Well, I've got to look to find out what they're like. I got the boxes; they're awful pretty boxes, but I really don't know about the game. Scott,
Which
told
was
me
so
that
true
these
of
were
so many
great
executives
products,
at Sierra.
but, can you really trust him or not? That's the question.
I'm standing outside of Scott Murphy's office, one of the designers of the Space Quest series, where he's agreed to do an exclusive interview with us. Let's see how he is. Good afternoon,
Was that
Scott.
really your office,
Listen,
Scott?
I'll only talk to you if you put the camera
Yeah,
down.
actually, they stuck me in this little
okay,
hole
okay,
after a
yeah,
while.
put the
It's
camera
like I wasn't as valuable.
Scott Murphy, you spent a lifetime of designing games for Sierra Online. What do you feel is your crowning achievement?
Oh, well, I'd have to say, the King's Quest series.
Slam
Oh
the
man, when
door.
I look at that thing, I can't see it now. But when I remember that door slamming and the door stop, that
Yeah.
could have stabbed right into Barry's head.
Yeah.
And it makes me grimace every time I see it.
Right.
That is, I don't handle corporate
Here
law
comes
for the entire
Leslie.
company, if you know
Yeah.
what I mean.
I don't understand.
Bill
Oh,
Crow
no, I'm the attorney hired by Sierra
totally
Online
hosed her
specifically
dialogue.
to handle lawsuits against the Space Quest series. It's made me a rich woman.
There have been lawsuits then?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Let's see, ZZ Top sued us first. It got me my first Beamer.
This is where a lot of the
Toys R
the
Us.
speculation of the suing came from, I'm afraid, guys. So, it
Yeah.
wasn't really all that true. But anyway.
Number
It
two.
was just we were just having fun
Ever
with it.
ready? Is that Duracell? Fredericks of Hollywood, Campbell's Soup, Hilton Hotels, Brooke Shields. You know, one time Ken Williams himself sued us, but when we countersued with an abusive process, the whole thing got thrown out of court.
So, Scott, tell me what it's like to design a series as popular and as critically acclaimed as Space Quest.
Well, Barry, it's very, very rewarding, especially professionally. I'm proud to have earned the admiration and the respect and, well, the envy of the other designers here at Sierra.
I've known Scott for a long time, and I think the thing that I admire the most about him is he makes the best cup of coffee in the entire company.
We had buttload of Roberta doing spit
Very
takes
best.
with the coffee. I wish we had him.
Scott, isn't he the little weasel that always parks in the handicap space?
That's Leslie
The
Belford's
Space Quest series has
school.
been a great inspiration to me. It helped me define what I wanted to do with my games and what I didn't want to do.
We had him over at the house once.
Not true.
Not true.
Never again.
Cadillac, Boy Scouts of America, Blondes for a Better Tomorrow.
Dr. Appleby, you're a professor of anthropology at California State University in Oakhurst.
Precisely.
Who was Dr. Appleby?
And I've taken
Neil
lifetime
Grandstaff. He did
humor in
the
all
he did the
world's
music for
cultures.
Space Quest 6, and
I
he now
found that
teaches
culture
music
itself
up
determines humor
south of
in most
Upport.
cases. But the resilience of the human spirit allows us to see humor in nearly any situation.
Really great guy.
You've been playing Space Quest the past week for us, Doctor. Can you tell us, in your expert opinion, what it is that makes these games so funny?
I have absolutely no idea.
Neil can play blues guitar like nobody's business. He can do Eric Clapton stuff so well. It's really
Ja, Space
amazing.
Quest. Das war so eine Sache für sich. Ich bin froh, dass ich das überlebt habe. Die Sache war eine der schlimmsten Übersetzungen, die ich überhaupt je haben machen müssen. Schwierigkeitsgrad Nummer 1. Man kann sich überhaupt nicht vorstellen, was für ein Mist man da alles hat übersetzen müssen. Überhaupt nichts,
Sabine.
das irgendwie miteinander zusammenstimmt. Alles war wie, als müsste man von vorne anfangen. Ich habe da, Mensch Meier, was habe ich nach Übersetzern gesucht, wo ich was richtig rauskriegen soll. Aber ist da was gekommen? Nee, musste ich alles selber machen. Also wie verrückt, die ganze Sache ist total verrückt. Mache ich nicht nochmal.
How about that Scott Murphy?
Scott Murphy?
Ja.
Scott Murphy? Da brauchst du mir gar nicht mitzukommen. Der Junge, der ist ein Mistkerl, mit dem will ich nichts mehr zu tun haben. Der Mann hat mich so blamiert in Europa, das kann man sich überhaupt nicht vorstellen. Europa, ich bin doch nur noch der, wie man im Englischen sagt, Laughing Stock of Europe. Und das ist nämlich das Schlimmste, was man machen kann. Mich so zu ruinieren in Europa. Nee, also ich habe keine Lust mehr, also das reicht mir jetzt. Was ist so ein Mistscheiß hier? Scott Murphy, ich bin doch nicht bekloppt und rede über den Typ. Affen weg, hier, was heute die Scheiße. Also ich bin weg, also dann. Auf Wiedersehen.
She literally ripped a button off of Barry's shirt when she
Austin
grabbed his.
Purina, Midol, the Encyclopedia Britannica.
Behind this story is history in the making. Scott Murphy and Bill Shockley are interviewing for the next guy from Andromeda. Let's take a look, shall we?
And proof positive that Josh owns a pair of X-ray specs.
It'll be just a minute.
I like how he always has problems getting into the door.
Yeah.
Cut.
Yes, there is a
So,
link on
why do you
YouTube
want
for this,
to be a
guys.
guy
Just
from
Google it,
Andromeda?
or YouTube
I
it.
really want to work for Sierra Online.
And it's on the.
Do we have a link on
it's
our
the old
website for this?
collection.
Because
Yeah. No, it's not, Mark.
I didn't think we wanted to have one.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Next.
because it's not something that you and I did,
think
Mark. So
Scott
I just
Murphy's a
thought
bona
it
fide
was a
genius.
good idea.
Next.
Because I think Ken Williams is a bona fide genius.
It's funny because I'm looking at a frozen picture of Roberta.
We killed that
Oh,
man.
yeah, just as stupid as
We
the
killed
next
that man and buried him hours later.
Oh, what do you
There's,
think?
this is Chris Willis.
Seems like kind of a jerk, but there's
Oh,
something
no,
about
that's
the
not-
guy I really like.
Chris Willis was a guy with the sunglasses and long hair.
Oh, gee, thanks.
So
That's
there you have it.
Neil Matz.
Sierra Online
With
makes
that
its pledge
entertainment.
to each and every one of you to continue to bring you computer games of the highest caliber. And they promise to continue to bring you Space Quest.
And they continue to bring you Space Quest.
Great stuff.
Well, I have the freeze frame of Neil Matz's face. I got to capture this for posterity. I want Neil to put this as his avatar on Facebook. Yes, Neil. Yes.
Did the video wrap?
Yep, video just finished up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was just getting the audio on that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I saw very, very, very little of it.
That's odd, man. Well, everybody, we hope you enjoyed Izzy.
What I enjoy watching that movie, why I enjoy watching that is it's kind of neat. It puts me back in the hallways of the old Sierra building and reminisce
The
a
old
little bit.
Lubin go.
If those walls could
Lubin
talk.
go.
Huh, Scott?
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. And then and then especially the ones that were screaming in Paul DePledge's room. By the way, we've gotten in touch. We've got Mr. Ken Allen got us in touch with Paul DePledge, and we're going to be reaching out to him. He's still the same cool guy, and he's gone another path in life, and he's still in the Oakhurst area, from what I understand.
Is he really? I got to get in touch with it.
Yeah, I believe he's a minister in Oakhurst, Mark. I think that's what Ken said, but he's still Paul.
Cool. I know he was very involved with the youth camps in the surrounding areas there.
Yeah, high quality person, just with a lot of interesting omissions.
Very cool. Well, guys, we thank you guys so much for joining us for the Space Quest 5 commentary. Of course,
we hope you enjoy Mark's work on the new PR thing on PowerPoint and the PDF. He did a lot of work on that for all of us actually, but for you to enjoy.
Yeah, beautiful graphics and stuff.
Feel free to pass it around.
And sorry that was so short.
But
Game
Jim
and the commentary.
Somebody asked if Jim lives in Oakhurst. I think Jim lives either in Oakhurst or just down the road in Corscold. But yeah, he's back in the area.
Yeah. So feel free to help us spread the word, guys. That's a press release, official. It's going to be going all over the place, but feel free to submit it to people and help us spread the word so we can get this thing funded and out there. And
yes, trolls. We hope that Josh gets in here for Space Quest 6. We've extended an invitation to talk nothing about Space Quest 6 and just to be able to cover it the right way. Josh and I talked on Skype last night, and we laughed our butts off. It's always when Josh is a great friend, and when we talk, it's always great, and just as it was last night. So we're just hoping that things work out, that he'll be able to be here tomorrow. It's something that's out of our control. All we can do is extend an invitation.
Yep. All right, guys. Last things either of you want to say?
I just want to say,
I'm glad everybody was able to join today, and appreciated your presence, and hope you enjoyed the podcast.
Yep. Scott?
Yeah. Same here. I enjoyed it, and it was different for me because I got a chance to see something I haven't seen in a long time. I got a chance to see it through new eyes, and to hear more detail that Mark was able to expand on because he had more time to do so. And so it was very enjoyable for me, and I'm very happy that so many of you have shown up, and we really, once again, we can't thank you guys enough for your support and your enthusiasm. And we're sorry that we can't answer all the questions. It's just going by so fast.
Yeah.
And I type 3 characters a minute.
Same here. And I just wanted to add, I hope everybody is digging the direction we're going with the new game. We're very excited about it, and we're going to forge ahead with our plans. And Ace Hardway.
Yes, very exciting. And Rooter
coming at you.
And Rooter.
Yep. And we got a Reddit AMA coming up on Thursday, everybody. It's coming. We'll announce the time and all that stuff eventually. It's coming up, though,
It's
Thursday.
Hardway for the win.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot for
Hardway
joining us. It's been a blast. Again, we really appreciate it. It means a lot, you guys hanging out this long. We had a decent-sized chat room. So thanks a lot, everybody. And we're going to take off now. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Later.
Ciao.